I still remember the first time I saw the mark on my baby's skin, a small crescent dark against his soft shoulder. My stomach turned cold. That was not my husband's mark. It was his brother's. That was the moment everything came back to me. The night I wished had never happened. My name is Lura. To outsiders, my life looked like a dream. I was married to Daniel, the son of a very wealthy family. We lived in a big white house with tall gates, servants, and cars parked like trophies in the garage. Daniel was the kind of man everyone respected. Calm, serious, and careful with his words. When he walked into a room, people listened. He made me feel safe. But then there was his twin brother, David. He looked exactly like Daniel. Same tall frame, same sharp jaw, same deep voice. But unlike Daniel, he laughed too loud, drank too much, and lived like nothing could touch him. At first, I thought the twins were easy to tell apart. Daniel wore dark suits and spoke softly. David wore flashy colors, and his cologne hit you before he even said hello. I told myself there was no way I could ever mistake one for the other. I was wrong. It was at a fundraiser in our family estate. The chandeliers glowed above us, and the air smelled of champagne and perfume. Guests filled every corner, talking about business, charity, and power. I stayed close to Daniel, smiling when needed. But as the night dragged on, I started drinking too much. 1 glass of champagne turned into 3, then 4. The music was loud, the laughter even louder. My head felt heavy. Then the lights went out. A sudden blackout. People gasped. Some screamed. I froze in the dark. A hand touched my shoulder. A deep voice whispered, "It's okay. I'm here." I relaxed instantly. It had to be Daniel. Who else would speak to me like that? He guided me through the hallway, had one hand on my waist. We moved into a quiet room at the end of the corridor. The air smelled faintly of the cologne Daniel always wore. My mind was dizzy, but my heart believed it was him. I let things happen. I didn't question it. When I woke the next morning, the light of the sun spilled into the room. I turned and froze. It wasn't Daniel lying beside me. It was David. My heart stopped. I scrambled out of bed, clutching the sheets around me. "David?" My voice shook. He sat up, his face pale. "Lura, I thought you knew." "Knew what?" I snapped. He buried his face in his hands. "I thought you knew it was me. I didn't mean... I thought." "Stop." My throat tightened. "This never happened. Do you hear me? This never happened." He nodded quickly. "Yes, we forget. Please, we forget." I dressed in silence. My hands trembled so badly I could barely zip my dress. When I stepped out into the bright morning, the house looked the same. But inside me, everything had changed. For weeks after that morning, I walked around the house like a ghost. Every time I saw David's face in my mind, I pushed it away. I told myself it had not happened. I told myself it was just a nightmare I could never mention to anyone. When Daniel came to kiss me, I let him. When he asked if I was fine, I smiled and said, "Yes." But inside, I was carrying something heavy, something that made it hard to breathe. One afternoon, as we sat by the pool, Daniel took my hand. "You've been quiet these days," he said softly. "I'm just tired," I replied. He frowned. "Tired of me?" "No, never you," I said quickly. "It's just everything. The parties, the constant people, the cameras." He squeezed my hand. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" I forced a smile. "Of course." But I didn't tell him. I couldn't. That same week, David called me. His voice was shaky. "Lura, are you all right?" "I'm fine," I answered coldly. He paused. "I can't stop thinking about that night." "Don't," I cut him off. "We said we would forget it. We must forget it." "I know, but..." "No, David," I snapped. "Never bring it up again." There was silence. Then he sighed. "All right." From that day, we kept our distance. He traveled to London not long after. I was relieved. With him gone, it was easier to pretend nothing happened. I tried to bury myself in my role as Daniel's wife. I attended charity events, smiled for the cameras, and played the part of the perfect woman. At night, when Daniel held me, I whispered in my head, "It was just a mistake. It will never come back to haunt me." Forget it, Lura. Forget it. But lies have a way of sitting in your chest like stones. 2 months later, I woke up one morning feeling sick. My stomach churned, and I ran to the bathroom. Daniel tapped on the door. "Are you okay in there?" "I'm fine," I lied, but I wasn't fine. The sickness kept coming. My body felt strange. My chest was heavy. My cycles were late. One afternoon, when Daniel left for a meeting, I sent the maid out to buy something for me, a pregnancy test. I locked myself in the bathroom and stared at the little stick in my hand. My hands trembled as I waited. One line appeared. Then another. 2 pink lines. Pregnant. My knees gave way and I sat on the cold tiles. No, 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 I whispered. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. That evening, Daniel came home, smiling. I have news, he said. The board approved my proposal. I tried to smile back. That's wonderful. He looked at me closely. Are you okay? You look pale. I took a deep breath. I couldn't hide it. Daniel, I think I'm pregnant. His mouth fell open. Then a huge smile spread across his face. He pulled me into his arms, laughing. Finally, he shouted. Finally, Lura, we're going to be parents. Tears filled my eyes. I nodded and forced a smile, but inside, fear ate at me. Was this Daniel's child or David's? The first night after I told him, Daniel was so happy he couldn't stop touching my stomach. Do you feel anything yet? He whispered. It's too early, I said softly. He chuckled. I can't believe it. After all this time. I turned away, hiding the tears in my eyes. That night, lying awake, I argued with myself in my head. It's Daniel's child. It has to be. You were with him before. It's his. But another voice whispered, You don't know. It could be David's. What will you do then? I pressed a pillow over my face and cried silently. In the weeks that followed, Daniel told everyone. At dinner one evening, he raised a glass. To my wife and to the new life we are about to welcome. Everyone clapped. His mother, Elizabeth, kissed my cheek and said, You've made this family proud, Lura. I smiled at her, but my stomach twisted. That night, Daniel held me and said, I know it's early, but I can already see our child running in this house. He'll look just like me. I swallowed hard and whispered, Yes, just like you. A month later, David called from London. Daniel told me the news, he said quietly. You're pregnant. Yes, I answered. My voice was flat. There was silence on the line. Then he asked, Lura, do you think, is there a chance? I cut him off sharply. No, don't even say it. This is Daniel's child. Do you hear me? He sighed. All right, if you say so. His voice carried something heavy, something unspoken. I ended the call quickly and threw the phone aside. As the months passed, my stomach grew, and so did my fear. Daniel was overjoyed. He talked about names, painted a nursery, and made plans for the future. Meanwhile, I prayed every night. Please, God, let this be Daniel's child. Please don't let my sin show. But the truth was waiting, quiet and patient. The day Noah was born was the happiest day of Daniel's life. For me, it was both joy and terror wrapped in one. Labor was long. I screamed, cried, prayed, and begged for it to end. When the nurse finally placed the tiny boy in my arms, my heart melted. His little face was soft, his mouth curved like Daniel's, and his hands wrapped around my finger. Daniel kissed my forehead. You did it, love. He's perfect. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to let my heart rest. But then the nurse turned Noah slightly, and that's when I saw it, on his left shoulder. A small crescent-shaped mark. My blood froze. It was the same mark David had. I had noticed it once when he wore a t-shirt during a family barbecue. A strange, curved birthmark, like a half moon. I stared at it, unable to blink. My arms shook so badly the nurse almost took the baby from me. Daniel didn't notice. He was too busy smiling, telling the nurse to take pictures. Inside, my world was falling apart. 2 weeks later, Elizabeth, my mother-in-law, came to visit. She was a strong woman, always dressed in expensive clothes, always holding her head high. She leaned over Noah's crib, studying him. Then she smiled. He's beautiful. He reminds me of the twins when they were babies. I forced a laugh. Yes, he does. Her eyes narrowed slightly as she touched the mark on Noah's shoulder. Funny, that mark, Daniel never had it. Only David did. My heart almost stopped. It must be from an old relative, I said quickly. Genes can be strange. She tilted her head but said nothing more. Still, the way she looked at me made sweat roll down my back. At night, when Noah slept beside me, I couldn't take my eyes off the mark. It was small, but to me, it screamed. I whispered to myself, no one else sees it the way you do. Don't panic, don't panic. But my heart refused to listen. When Daniel carried Noah around the house, grinning like the proudest father alive, I had to bite my lip until it bled. I told myself I had 2 choices. I could confess and destroy everything, or I could build a life on top of the lie. I chose the second. Daniel insisted we do a family photo shoot. We dressed Noah in tiny matching suits, Daniel in blue, Noah in the same shade. Like father, like son, Daniel laughed. I smiled at the camera, but my eyes burned with tears I couldn't shed. Later, when the photographer posted the pictures online, people left comments. The baby looks just like his father. Such a beautiful family. Each comment cut me like a knife. Daniel encouraged me to post more often. He wanted the world to see our perfect family. So I wrote captions like, "Blessed to have the two loves of my life. A father and son bond that cannot be broken." People believed the picture. They clapped for us. They admired us. But only I knew the truth, that I was living inside a mask. My mother-in-law never forgot the mark. One evening, she joined us for dinner. As we ate, she casually said, "When David was little, he used to scratch his shoulder because of that same mark. Funny how it shows up again." I forced a laugh. "Yes, very funny." Daniel chuckled. "Maybe it's from my grandfather. Who knows?" But Elizabeth's eyes lingered on me too long. I felt exposed, like she could see through my skin. By the time Noah was 4 months old, David returned from London for a short visit. When he held Noah for the first time, his eyes went straight to the mark. His hands trembled. "Beautiful boy," he whispered. I pulled Noah back quickly. "Yes, beautiful." That night, he found me in the study. His voice was low. "Lura, is he?" I cut him off. "Don't say it. Don't even ask. This is Daniel's child. That's all anyone needs to know." He nodded slowly, but his eyes were heavy. "All right, if that's what you want." "Yes," I snapped. "That's what I want." But deep down, I knew I was lying not just to him, not just to Daniel, but to myself. As the months passed, Daniel's family began planning Noah's future, as if everything was simple. They spoke of inheritance, of Noah carrying the family name, of trust funds and legacies. Each word made me sick, because what if one day the truth came out? What if the name he carried wasn't really his? One night, Daniel held me close. "Our son will take over one day. I can already see it." I smiled weakly. "Yes, maybe he will." Inside, my heart whispered, "But whose son is he, really?" Slowly, the lie became my daily habit. I smiled, nodded, posed for photos, and played the role of the happy wife and mother. Every time I wanted to scream, I swallowed it. Every time I wanted to confess, I wrote letters and tore them apart. The mark on Noah's shoulder was a constant reminder, but I forced myself to act like it meant nothing. At night, when the house was quiet, I stared at my sleeping son and whispered, "I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry for the life I've built on a secret. I don't know how long I can hold this together, but for now, I must." The day of Noah's christening was grander than I wanted. Elizabeth, my mother-in-law, insisted on a big celebration. The estate was filled with flowers, music, and guests in elegant clothes. Cameras flashed everywhere. I dressed Noah in a white robe, soft as clouds. Daniel looked at him with so much pride, like nothing else mattered. "He looks like an angel," Daniel whispered. I nodded and forced a smile. Inside, my heart was racing because David had returned from London just the day before. When he walked into the hall, my chest tightened. He looked the same as Daniel, yet so different. His smile was faint, his eyes tired. And when those eyes landed on Noah, something in me broke. After the ceremony, Daniel placed Noah in David's arms. "Meet your uncle properly," Daniel said with a grin. David cradled Noah carefully. He brushed a hand over his little shoulder, and I saw it. The way his gaze froze on the birthmark. His lips parted slightly, but he said nothing. "Beautiful boy," David whispered. Daniel laughed. "Runs in the family, doesn't it?" I shifted uncomfortably. "Yes, runs in the family." David's eyes flicked to mine, and for a moment I thought I would collapse under the weight of his stare. That night, after the guests left, I found David waiting in the study. The door was half open. "Lura," he said softly. I wanted to walk away, but my legs wouldn't move. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. He looked at me, his voice breaking. "Do I need to know the truth?" My throat tightened. "No. No one needs to know. Not even you." His jaw clenched. "But I can see it, Lura. The mark. The way he looks at me. He's mine, isn't he?" Tears filled my eyes. "No, he is Daniel's son. That's what the world must believe. That's what you must believe too." He stared at me for a long time, then nodded slowly. "If that's how you want it, but secrets don't stay quiet forever." I turned to leave, whispering, "Then pray this one does." The weeks after the christening were harder than I imagined. Daniel's family treated Noah like a crown prince. They spoke of his future as if it was already written. One afternoon, I sat in the lounge while Elizabeth talked to the family lawyer. "Start preparing the trust," she said. "Noah will inherit his father's shares. It must be in order before his first birthday. The lawyer nodded. Of course, madam. My hands trembled as I poured tea. Elizabeth turned to me. You must be proud, Lura. Your son will carry the family name, the business, the legacy. I smiled weakly. Yes, I am proud. But in my heart, I was screaming. That night, I locked myself in my room. I took out pen and paper and began to write to Daniel. My love, there is something I must tell you. Noah may not be your son. I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, the night of the fundraiser. I thought it was you. It was not. It was David. My tears smudged the ink. I stared at the paper for a long time. Then I folded it and placed it in a crystal ashtray. I set it on fire and watched the flames eat the truth. I couldn't destroy Daniel. I couldn't destroy this family. A friend suggested I see a therapist. I even booked a session once. But when the day came, I canceled. How could I sit in front of a stranger and confess something like this? So I carried the weight alone. One evening, Daniel was bouncing Noah on his knee. He laughed and said, "One day he'll run this house. My son, my heir." I forced a smile. Yes, he will. But my chest tightened. My hands shook so badly, I had to excuse myself to the bathroom. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. How long can you live like this, Lura? I whispered. It happened on a Sunday evening. The sun was low, painting the walls of our home gold. Noah was crawling on the floor, giggling as Daniel chased him around the living room. I was watching, trying to hold on to that picture of happiness. Then suddenly, Noah stopped laughing. His face turned pale, and his tiny body went stiff. "Noah?" I cried, rushing forward. Daniel scooped him up. "What's wrong with him?" His little chest struggled for air. My heart nearly stopped. We grabbed our coats and sped to the hospital. Doctors rushed him in. We sat in the waiting area, my hands shaking so badly I couldn't hold the water bottle Daniel offered me. After what felt like hours, the doctor came out. He had a severe allergic reaction, the doctor said. He's stable now, but we need full family medical history to run some tests. Daniel jumped in. Of course. He can take after me. I have no allergies. The doctor shook his head. It doesn't always pass directly from parents. We need as much detail as possible. I froze. My heart pounded because I knew where this was going. David, who had come to the hospital after we called the family, cleared his throat. It runs in me, he said quietly. I had the same reaction as a baby. The doctor nodded and scribbled it down. Daniel frowned. How did you know to mention that? David hesitated. I remembered. I avoided Daniel's eyes, but I could feel his confusion pressing on me like weight. Later, when we went to Noah's room, he was sleeping peacefully, a small tube in his hand. Daniel leaned over him, kissing his forehead. David stood by the window. Our eyes met. In that one look, everything was said without words. You see, Lura? He carries me. Don't say it. Don't ever say it. I looked away, but the truth pressed harder than ever. That night, back at home, I couldn't sleep. I walked to Noah's nursery and sat beside his crib. His small chest rose and fell as he slept. I'm sorry, my love, I whispered. I don't know what to do. You deserve peace, but all I've given you is a life built on lies. The truth was no longer something I could hide from myself. It was staring at me every time I looked at my son. And Daniel, my Daniel, didn't deserve to live blind to it. I made the decision the next evening. Daniel was in his study, going through business reports. His glasses were low on his nose, his pen moving quickly over the papers. My legs trembled as I walked in. Daniel, I whispered. He looked up and smiled. Hey, love, come sit. I sat, my palms sweaty. My chest felt like it was caving in. There's something I need to tell you. He frowned. What's wrong? Is it about Noah's health? Did the doctor say something? I shook my head. No, it's not that. It's about before he was born. I swallowed hard. My voice came out shaky. Daniel, the night of the fundraiser. When the lights went out, I thought I was with you. But I wasn't. It was David. He froze. His pen slipped from his hand. What? His voice was low, dangerous. Tears spilled down my cheeks. I didn't know. I was drunk. I thought it was you. I only realized in the morning, and I buried it. I prayed it would never come back. But now, Noah, the mark, the health scare, Daniel, I can't lie anymore. He stood slowly, his face pale. You're telling me that my brother is Noah's father? I sobbed. I don't know for sure, but it's possible, and I am sorry. I am so sorry. He turned away, gripping the edge of the desk. His shoulders shook. For the first time since I married him, I saw him cry. "How could you, Lura?" His voice cracked. "How could you keep this from me? For months, for years, while I held him, while I called him my son." I fell to my knees. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to destroy this family. He spun around, eyes red. "You already have." The words stabbed me deeper than anything. For days after, Daniel barely spoke to me. He still cared for Noah, fed him, played with him, tucked him in, but with me, his eyes were cold. At dinner, he would answer in one word, yes, no, fine. The silence was worse than shouting. One night, after putting Noah to bed, Daniel came into our room. He stood by the window for a long time before speaking. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Lura," he said quietly. "You broke something in me. In us." Tears ran down my face. "I know. I hate myself for it." He turned, his face tired. "But Noah is innocent. He didn't ask for this. He's still my son, no matter what blood says. I will raise him. I will never abandon him." I nodded, my heart breaking. "Thank you. That means everything. But you and I," he said slowly, "we are not the same anymore. Trust doesn't grow back overnight, if it grows back at all." Since that day, life has never gone back to the golden picture it once was. We still live in the big house. We still smile for the cameras. Daniel still carries Noah proudly. But between us, there is a distance, a quiet reminder of what I did, of what I confessed. The truth freed me, but it also chained me to guilt forever. Some nights, I look at Noah as he sleeps. I see the small crescent mark on his shoulder, and I whisper, "You are loved. No matter whose son you are loved. That's the only truth that matters now."